Hillary Clinton gives a speech as she is presented with a Honorary Doctorate of Law at Swansea University in Swansea, Wales. The former U.S. Secretary of State and 2016 American presidential candidate is also visiting the UK to promote her new book, What Happened. Matthew Horwood, GTA lone protester demonstrates outside Workman Quadrilla's shale gas fracking drilling rig near Westby in Blackpool. Engineers have begun to build the new rig at the site off Preston New Road in preparation for extracting gas. The site will be the first in the UK to extract shale gas since 2011. Getty photographs of missing Syrians are displayed as people, including a group of Syrian women, stand atop a double-decker bus during a demonstration by Families for Freedom in Parliament Square in London. Getty workmen erect scaffolding around the Elizabeth Tower, commonly known called Big Ben, during ongoing renovations to the tower and the Houses of Parliament of Fiji. An order of service is carried ahead of the funeral service for Coronation Street actress Liz Dawn, real name Sylvia Anna Bitson, outside Salford Cathedral. A former Woolworths shop girl from Leeds, who first set foot on Weatherfield's famous cobbles in 1974, Dawn, who had 4 children, died peacefully last week at home with her family around her. PA Melanie Kramers of Oxfam poses while wearing a mask of Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, with assorted props used in political campaigns, in the storeroom at Oxfam's headquarters in London. The props have all been used in the charity's campaigns over the years to raise awareness of issues affecting people in poverty. Today marks 75 years since Oxfam's founding in the middle of the Second World War. Getty. A visitor poses in front of an artwork by Czech Republic artist Anna Hulakova entitled Ascension Mark I during a photo call for the Frieze Art Fair in London. Of Fiji. Britain's Chancellor of the Exchequer Philip Hammond arrives to speak at the Conservative Party's conference in Manchester. Reuters. Shanna Mackay. Protesters holding flags and placards demonstrate along Oxford Street during the annual Ashura March in London. Thousands of protesters march through London today to mark Ashura and celebrate the defeat of the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. Ashura is a Muslim festival of remembrance that falls on the 10th day of Muharram in the Islamic calendar. Jack Taylor. Getty. Protesters hold up placards during the London March for Choice, calling for the legalising of abortion in Ireland after the referendum announcement. Outside the Embassy of Ireland in central London. Chris J. Radcliffe. Former UKIP leader Paul Nadal speaks with delegates at the UKIP annual conference being held at the Riviera International Centre in Torquay. Matt Carnegie. England and West Indies fans enjoy themselves during the 4th Royal London One-Day International between England and West Indies at the Kia Oval in London. Mike Hewitt. Getty. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn takes photographs during Shadow Secretary of State for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy Rebecca Long-Bailey's speech in the main hall on day 3 of the annual Labour Party conference in Brighton. Dan Kitwood. Getty Images. Naked bathers enter the water as they take part in the Northeast Skinny Dip at Druridge Bay in Druridge, England. The popular annual event takes place around the autumn equinox at Druridge Bay as the sun rises. Participant registration fees have been pledged to the mental health charity Mind. Getty. Rilla Moffling, Archdruid of Stonehenge and Britain, conducts a ceremony as druids, pagans and revelers gather in the centre at Stonehenge, hoping to see the sun rise, as they take part in the autumn equinox celebrations at the ancient Neolithic monument of Stonehenge near Amesbury in Wiltshire, England. Several hundred people gathered at sunrise are the famous historic Stone Circle, a UNESCO-listed ancient monument, to celebrate the equinox, which is a specific moment in time that occurs twice a year when the Earth tilts neither towards summer or away winter from the sun in either the northern or southern hemisphere. Although yesterday marked the actual meteorological calendar change from summer to autumn, for Druids, the following dawn is when they celebrate the dawning of the new season following the day of equal night, which it is named after. Getty. Britain's Prime Minister Theresa May delivers her Brexit speech at the Complesso Santa Maria Novella in Florence, Italy. British Prime Minister Theresa May will seek to unlock Brexit talks on September 22, after Brussels demanded more clarity on the crunch issues of budget payments and EU citizens' rights. AFP. People protest against the actions of the Spanish government in front of the Spanish consulate in Edinburgh. Spanish police stormed ministries and buildings belonging to Catalonia's regional government yesterday, in an attempt to try and put a stop to the region's independence referendum. Pep Massapalami. One of the final 55 meters turbine blades is maneuvered into position. The last of 116 wind turbines have been installed at the Rampion offshore wind farm 13 km off the Brighton coast. It will provide enough electricity to supply the equivalent of half the homes in Sussex. Mike Hewitt. Getty Images. An armed police officer patrols in Horse Guards Parade in London. An 18-year-old man has been arrested in Dover in connection with yesterday's terror attack on Parsons Green Station in which 30 people were injured. The UK terror threat level has been raised to critical. Jack Taylor Getty Images demonstrators hold banners during a protest to lobby MPs to guarantee the rights of EU citizens living in the UK after Brexit. Outside the Houses of Parliament, Olga Akmanop. Rupert van der Werf, Summer Place Auctions natural history specialist, moves a one-year-old baby mammoth skeleton at Summers Place Auctions on September 12, 2017 in Billingshurst. A family of 4 mammoths, found together during building works near the Siberian city of Tomsk in 2002, will be on sale on November 21, 2017, and are expected to sell in the region of £250,000 $400,000. Rob Stothard. Getty Images. Members of the Royal Navy carry supplies on board the amphibious assault ship HMS Ocean at the naval base in Gibraltar before leaving to provide humanitarian assistance and vital aid to British overseas territories and Commonwealth partners affected by Hurricane Irma. Britain has pledged £32 million, €35 million, $42 million in aid and sent hundreds of troops, supplies and rescue equipment on several flights to the British territories in the Caribbean since the disaster. Jorge Guerrero. Getty Images. His Holiness the Dalai Lama holds the hand of Richard Moore as he gives a public talk on the theme of compassion in action to celebrate 20 years of the Children in Crossfire initiative in Londonderry, Northern Ireland. The Dalai Lama is the patron of the Children in Crossfire charity, which was founded by Richard Moore. Mr. Moore was blinded by a plastic bullet fired by a British soldier during the Troubles in Derry. Getty Images. Participants in the annual Jane Austen Regency costumed parade dance on the lawn of the historic Georgian Royal Crescent before they walk through the city centre in Bath, England. This year, the annual event coincided with the 200th anniversary of 19th-century author's death and saw hundreds of people parade through city centre streets dressed in Regency costume. The event marks the start of a 10-day Jane Austen festival that celebrates the 19th-century author who lived in the city from 1801 to 1806 and set 2 of her 6 published novels, Northanger Abbey and Persuasion, in Bath. Getty Festival goers brave the wind and the rain at Festival on the Lulworth Estate in Dorset. Matt Carter. Getty Images. Conservators and museum staff pose as they inspect the Manchester's suffragette banner hanging in the Conservation Department of Manchester People's History Museum. For nearly 50 years the banner lay undiscovered in a Leeds charity shop. It will go on public display next year to mark the centenary of women gaining the vote. Christopher Furlong. Getty Images. Protesters wave placards in Parliament Square during a protest against a government pay cap in London. Thousands of protesters made up of nurses and supporters hold a demonstration in Westminster today calling on the government to end the 1% cap on public sector paid. Jack Taylor. Getty Images. USOE win. The great-grandson of Burma's last king visits Buckingham Palace. John Phillips. Getty Images. Protesters demonstrate in support of workers at British McDonald's restaurants striking over pay and other industrial relations issues near the Houses of Parliament in London. Reuters. World War II veteran from the Auxiliary Territorial Service Betty Webber joins other veterans who worked at Bletchley Park and its outstations for a group picture in front of Bletchley Park Mansion during an annual reunion in Milton Keynes, England. Bletchley Park was the Government Code and Cipher Schools GCCS main code-breaking center during World War II and the site where code breakers famously cracked the Germans' Enigma and Lorenz ciphers. Getty Images. 50,000 people making the foot crossing over New Queen's Ferry Road Bridge. EPA. Britain's Prime Minister, Theresa May, is greeted by Emperor Akihito of Japan during her visit to the Royal Palace in Tokyo, Japan. Mrs. May is on the 3rd and final day of her visit to Japan where she has discussed a number of issues including trade and security. Carl Court. Getty Images. Well-wishers and royal enthusiasts gather outside the gates of Kensington Palace where tributes continue to be left on the 20th anniversary of the death of Princess Diana. Dan Kitwood. Getty Images. Prime Minister Theresa May takes part in a tea ceremony in Kyoto during her visit to Japan. PA.